Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. We begin today's satsang with a prayer by Srimati Sapna Ganesh. This will be followed by the chanting of Muktaka trayam.
दक्षिणामूर्तिसारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् रमणाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये आङ्गिकं भुवनं यस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं नमः सात्विकं शिवम् ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय नमो रमण टु एव्रीवन।
एकमक्षरम् हृदि निरन्तरम् भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् ह्यहम् अहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता वा पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम् देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो भाति स्वयं सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं Namo Ramana. We will now have the chanting of Upadesa Saram by Uma Sripathy.
नमो रमण वायुरोधना लीयते मना जालपक्षिवद्रोदसाधन चित्तवायवा चित्क्रियायुताः शाखयोर्द्वयी शक्तिमूलका लयविनाशने उभयरोधने लयगतं पुनर्भवति नोऽमृतम् प्राणबन्धना लीनमानसम् एकचिन्तना नाशमेत्यदा नष्टमानसो उत्कृष्टयोगिना कृत्यमस्ति किं स्वस्तितिं यथा दृश्यवारितं चित्तमात्मना चित्वदर्शनं तत्त्वदर्शनं मानसं तु किं मार्गणे कृते नैव मानसं मार्ग आर्जवात् वृत्तयस्त्वहं वृत्तिमाश्रिताः वृत्तयो मनो विद्यहं मना अहमयं कुतो भवति चिन्वत ऐपतत्यहं निजविचारणम् अहमिनाशभा जहमहं तया स्फुरति हृत्स्वयं परमपूर्णस नमो रमण
Namo Ramana. We will now have 3 songs presented from Ramananjali music. The first song will be presented by Srimati V. Radha. The second song will be presented by Dr. Pratibha Sundaresh. The third song will be presented by Revathi Shankar.
Namo Ramana to all. Today, in the remembrance of our beloved Mami, the leader of Ramananjali Sangeetam, the founder of Ramananjali Sangeetam, who was always thinking about just Ramana, 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 and who also taught us to say Ramana for everything, the 3-letter word Ramana. So the song is dedicated to her. It is written by Sri Sudhananda Bharati. The music is by L. Krishna. Ramana, 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 Ramana. परने गुहने वरने परिपूरणने वरुवाय परने गुहने वरने परिपूरणने वरुवाय बीरवत्तुरिय पेरुविन् विरिवे बीरवानिलये पिरिया उरवे रमणा 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 Ramana, 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 Karunalayane varuvai, Kadirar kadale varuvai, Karunalayane varuvai, Kadirar kadale varuvai. உருகம்படியார் குருதி பொருளே தருணம் தருணம் தரணி கருள்வாய் ரமணா 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 அடியாரிதயாம்புயனே அருணாடகனே அபயம் அடியாரிதயாம்புயனே அருணாடகனே அபயம் துடியானிலையே சுடர்மாமணியே சுகநாயகனே அபயம் அபயம் ரமணா 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 Ramana, 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 Ramana. Namo Ramana.
Salutations to Sulochana Mami for giving us this Ramananjali that has transformed innumerable number of devotees. We are going to be celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi in a few days. And in this composition, Dr. Ambika Kameshwar describes Lord Ganesha having come as our Sadguru Ramana to protect us and deliver us from this ocean of samsara. She says, Lord Ganesha, removal of obstacles and ever directing us to realize our true nature, shower your boundless grace. Lord Ganesha, you who have come to this earth in human form as Sadguru Ramana, please protect us. To prostrate to you as embodiment of Supreme Being, to praise you as the ocean of grace, to cross this ocean of samsara, I seek your immense grace. Gajamukhanada Nija Guna Bodha Gajamukhanada Nija Guna Bodha Karunai Purivai Shri Vigneshwara Gajamukhanada Nija Guna Bodha Karunai Purivai Shri Vigneshwara Gajamukhanada Nija Guna Bodha Karunai Purivai Shri Vigneshwara Gajamukhanada. Guru Swarupamai Ulahil Vandemai Kakum Isha Ganesha. Guru Swarupamai Ulahil Vandemai Kakum Isha Ganesha Gajamukhanada Nija Guna Bodha Karunai Purivai Shri Vigneshwara Gajamukhanada. பரம்பொருளென உன்னை பணிந்திட அருட்கடலென உன்னை துதித்திட பவவினை உன் அருளால் வென்றிட வரம் வேண்டும். பரம்பொருளென உன்னை பணிந்திட அருட்கடலென உன்னை துதித்திட பவவினை உன் அருளால் வென்றிட வரம் வேண்டும். பரம்பொருளென உன்னை பணிந்திட அருட்கடலென உன்னை துதித்திட பவவினை உன் அருளால் வென்றிட வரம் வேண்டும். உலகில் வந்தெம்மை காக்கும் ஈஷா ரமணேஷா கணேஷா. உலகில் வந்தெம்மை காக்கும் ஈஷா ரமணேஷா கணேஷா. ரமணேஷா கணேஷா ராமணேஷா. நமோ ரமண.
Namo Ramana. Today is the day when Bhagavan came to Sulochanama and held her hand and took her to his state, his Sannidhi, his Sanidhya, making her as Ramana himself. So we are remembering Sulochanama on this very special day. And as Radha aunty said, she has taught us how to chant the name Ramana. What is the benefit of chanting Ramana? Chanting the name of Ramana takes us back to himself. Nandakumarji always says, when you don't have the strength to do self-enquiry, just chant Ramana, Ramana, Ramana. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. I was saying, today we are remembering Sulochana Ma, this very special day when Bhagavan held Sulochana Ma's hand and took her with him to his own state, making her merge in himself and in Arunachala, which are not different from each other. Sulochana Ma taught us how we should chant the name Ramana. When we should chant the name Ramana, she said all the time, Ramana, 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 Ramana. And what does this Ramana Nama give us? Nandakumarji always says, if we don't have the strength to hold on to the self, it may be any reason. It may be that we are getting behind the thoughts, or it may be that we are dozing off, or it may be we are going into blank state, whatever it is. But if we hold on to Ramana, he's not different from the self. So he's given us this easy path of chanting his name, although that name also comes only by his grace. Here in this song, the poet has given 3 lovely examples. The whole universe is helped, is protected by this Nama. And how is this Nama? It is so sweet. It is like Amrita. It is Madhura. It is even a small child who sees the picture of Bhagavan. It says Ramana Tata. Although some children may not even know how to pronounce Ra. They may say Ramana Tata, but that is the beauty of the name. Just by chanting it, it will give us the highest state, like how Go Lakshmi, Go Mata Lakshmi got that state by just thinking of his name. We don't know how much she would have chanted his name. We don't understand it, but Go Mata Lakshmi, she was thinking of Ramana all the time. That means that this lips alone need not chant the name. The mind has to think of it, and that is it. The mind is destroyed by thinking of this name. He gives us mukti, like how he gave mukti to his own mother. Alagammal said, O Ramana, you are my everything. Then I am at your feet. If I leave my life, if I just give away my life, what happens to the body is not any concern to me. You can throw it out in the thorny bushes on Arunachala also. But what is the state he gave to mother? He built a temple to her, and he has given all of us the temple of Matrubhuteshwara, Yogambike. And he also has shown us how to do the Giri Valam, Giri Pradakshine, and that Giri Valam every moment we can do within ourselves. Go around that self which is there within ourselves, shining bright, and hold on to that Arunachala within us, he says. This is a lovely song written by Y.V. Venkateshwar Rao. The Kannada translation is by R.N.J. Gopal. Music by Vijay Bhaskar. मनुज कोटिय सलहो नामवु मृदु मधुरवु श्रीरमण नामवु मनुज कोटिय सलहो नामवु मृदु मधुरवु श्रीरमण नामवु रमण 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 गो महालक्ष्मी सेवे फलदोಳ್ मोक्ष तरुव नामवु गो महालक्ष्मी सेವೆಯ ಫಲದೋಳ್ मोक्ष तरुव नामवु ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಬಯಸುವ ಭಕ್ತ ಜನಗಳ ಕೋರಿಕೆ ತೀರುವ ನಾಮವು ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಬಯಸುವ ಭಕ್ತ ಜನಗಳ ಕೋರಿಕೆ ತೀರುವ ನಾಮವು ಮನುಜ ಕೋಟಿಯ ಸಲಹೋ ನಾಮವು ಮೃದು ಮಧುರವು ಶ್ರೀರಮಣ ನಾಮವು ರಮಣ 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 ಅಳಗಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಆಶ್ರಯ ನೀಡಿ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಕರುಣಿಸಿದ ನಾಮವು ಅಳಗಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಆಶ್ರಯ ನೀಡಿ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಕರುಣಿಸಿದ ನಾಮವು ಪಾವನ ಗಂಗೆಯ ಸಾಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಪಾಪವ ಕಳೆಯುವ ನಾಮವು ಪಾವನ ಗಂಗೆಯ ಸಾಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಪಾಪವ ಕಳೆಯುವ ನಾಮವು ಮನುಜ ಕೋಟಿಯ ಸಲಹೋ ನಾಮವು ಮೃದು ಮಧುರವು ಶ್ರೀರಮಣ ನಾಮವು ರಮಣ 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 ಭಕ್ತಿಯಲಿ ಗಿರಿ ಪ್ರದಕ್ಷಿಣೆ ಮಾಡುವ ಪುಣ್ಯ ನೀಡುವ ನಾಮವು ಭಕ್ತಿಯಲಿ ಗಿರಿ ಪ್ರದಕ್ಷಿಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಪುಣ್ಯ ನೀಡುವ ನಾಮವು ನೀನೇ ದಿಕ್ಕೆಂದು ತವ ಸನ್ನಿಧಾನವ ಸೇರಲು ಶುಭ ತರೋ ನಾಮವು ನೀನೇ ದಿಕ್ಕೆಂದು ತವ ಸನ್ನಿಧಾನವ ಸೇರಲು ಶುಭ ತರೋ ನಾಮವು ಮನುಜ ಕೋಟಿಯ ಸಲಹೋ ನಾಮವು ಮೃದು ಮಧುರವು ಶ್ರೀರಮಣ ನಾಮವು ಮನುಜ ಕೋಟಿಯ ಸಲಹೋ ನಾಮವು ಮೃದು ಮಧುರವು ಶ್ರೀರಮಣ ನಾಮವು ರಮಣ 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 This song was sung by Srimati Sulochana Natarajan in the cassette Ramana Madhura Nama. Moving on to the next section, where I request Sri Nandakumarji to read from the book Ramana's Muruganar and do his sharing.
Namo Ramana. In this, the book reading segment of our satsang, we have been reading the account of Professor Dr. T.N. Prantarthi Haran as part of the work Ramana's Muruganar, a birth centenary offering compiled by our founder president, Sri A.R. Natarajanji. In this account, T.N. Prantarthi Haran sir is focusing on Ramana Puranam, which is part of Ramana Sannidhi Murai. We have read through a major portion of this account. We are in the path of Ramana. We continue with the path of Ramana. The holy Sannidhi of Ramana is unique in many respects. Ego, which is the root cause of various births, is rooted out in it. Muruganar chides the ego as the false, parichinna, waste ego. That's quoted from the Puranam, Ramana Puranam. One should constantly watch its source. If I may recall, Sulochanamma used to say, once she had the stroke which restricted her movements in a major way, she used to share that Bhagavan has given me this so that I can do more of self-enquiry, that I am now getting up Nandakumar at 4 o'clock, and from there on since I am immobilized in the bed, I am doing self-enquiry very well, she used to say. She was a great devotee, totally aware of the Jnana Marga and Bhakti Marga of Bhagavan, and she had reminded us that out of all the Parayanams, that which has just the Nama of Ramana, that would be enough to see us through. And Bhagavan's teachings is summarized here by the author as Muruganar says that it is the rooting out of the ego, and one should constantly watch its source. All the great devotees of Bhagavan, like Sulochanamma, like Muruganar, they all emphasize on both the margas. We are going to come to the other marga in a few lines further down. By searching for the source of the heart, by searching for the source without thought, the ego dies in the heart. That is Ramana Puranam. If it does so, it will not spring forth again. Vedanta advocates the method of erasing thoughts one by one. That is Neti Neti. Muruganar accepts this method also. The rooting out of ego is the direct method. No need to attend to the other thoughts. Directly pay attention to this parichinna ego and root it out. But one can root out the other thoughts and attend to the ego. Vedanta advocates the method of erasing thoughts one by one. Muruganar accepts this method also. There is a quote once again from the Puranam. By the method of negation, when all thoughts die, you shine as light, O Ramana. When method of negation, by the method of negation, the Neti Neti, when all thoughts die, you shine as light, O Ramana. When all thoughts die, the self alone remains. That is Ramana Swarupa, says the poet. When all thoughts die, the ego is rooted out and Ramana alone remains. As Ramana alone remains, what else can you be? Your independent existence merges into that of Bhagavan. When all thoughts die, the self alone remains. That is Ramana Swarupa, says the poet. Mind is but a bundle of thoughts. It differentiates space as the first, the second, and the third persons. If the first person arises, the other two follow. So, in its absence, the second and third persons cease to be. This is from Ulladhu Narpadu. Likewise, Time also is differentiated as the past, the present, and the future by the mind. If the present is understood, the past and the future are dissolved in it. Thus, the mind alone is responsible for the differentiation of time-space coordinate. What happens to it in deep sleep? We do not realize that, but the jnanis do. To them, sleep and waking states are the same. They sleep while awake. That is a quote from the Ramana Puranam. Muruganar says, the jnanis sleep while awake. Fullness of consciousness, absence of thoughts together. Then the truth is realized. The pairs like truth falls, heat cold, and light darkness then become meaningless. That is called Turiya, which alone is the true state. It is celebrated by the poet as, O Ramana, you are the Turiya, heart true space. The light expands, true wakeful sleep. This is also from the Puranam. O Ramana, you are the Turiya, heart true space. The light expands, true wakeful sleep. Ramana is the living example of this state. Thus, Vichara Marga is expatiated. If this Vichara Marga is difficult to follow, Kannappan like Bhakti is recommended by the poet in another quote from Ramana Purana. If the Vichara Marga is difficult to follow, Kannappan like Bhakti is recommended by the poet. Amma too, as we recall, had both the astras to give to us. Philosophical terms. From here on, the author goes in a research kind of mode, comparing Ramana Puranam and Muruganar's poetic usage of words with various scriptures. The Shaivite as well as Vedantic technical terms are freely used in Ramana Purana. Here we can infer that Muruganar attempts to reconciliate between Vedanta and Saiva Siddhanta. Muruganar is famously known to have said that I don't know Vedanta, I don't know Saiva Siddhanta or Siddhanta, but I know only Ramananta, like that. But from the Ramanantam, he has attempted to reconcile Vedanta and Shaiva Siddhanta, says the author. Following are the philosophical terms found in the portion. In the Ramana Puranam, some philosophical terms freely used from both Vedanta and Saiva Siddhanta, Avarana Vikshepa, Mummulam of Saiva Siddhanta, Paramanma, Sadodayam, Chitakayam, Satchit, Chittampalam, Santanabhuti, Tiroda, Muppad is from Saiva Siddhantam, Shiva Yoga, Parichinna, Muppudi, Sorupa Chaitanyam, Advita Nishkala Kevalam, Jnana Anubhuti. These terms used by the poet indicate that he tries to reconcile between Vedanta and Saiva Siddhanta. Basically, both take us to the self of all is the main reconciliation that is being worked out by all Ramana devotees. They find the unity in teachings across religions, across various teachers, that ultimately the I and the mind have to be destroyed is the spiritual teachings across all the religions. Comparison with other works. Muruganar is deeply read in Tamil. His scholarship is patent in Ramana Puranam also. The influence of Tiruvachakam of Manikavachakar on him is chiefly witnessed. Following may be cited as evidences. Like a research person, he has quoted about 5-6 references in the Ramana Puranam and Tiruvachakam from Manikavachakar. Again from Ulladu Narpadu Anubandham, Aksharamanamalai, Tirumandiram by Tirumular, Kenopanishad, Tirukural, Tiruvachakam and Tirukural again. These indicate the wide-read scholarship of Muruganar, says the author T.N. Pranatharthiharan. Conclusion. Ramana Puranam is as important as Shiva Puranam in Tiruvachakam. Ramana's grace is the main thread in the work. Muruganar cannot visualize anything other than his master. He worships Ramana's feet by Ramana's grace only. Avanarulale avantal vanam. We come to worship God only by God's grace. Otherwise, which direction the ego was going, we are clearly aware. He worships Ramana's feet by Ramana's grace only. He willingly teaches here the holy path of Ramana, which he followed. If Ramana's path is chosen according to him, even an ordinary person will reach the greatest height. That is also from Ramana Puranam. He, of course, says the same thing in Punarvasuvarna. Pedeyarano, Medeyaraga Piranguvar. Ridiculously foolish people too, once they are blessed with Ramana's grace and come to his teachings, they will speak with highest scholarship. If Ramana's path is chosen according to him, even an ordinary person will reach the greatest height. Ramana's Swarupam, his grace, Vichara Marga, and Ananya Sharanagati are emphatically described in the Purana. Ramana Swarupam, which comes when you destroy the ego by enquiry. Bhagavan's grace, which alone brings us to both the surrender as well as the Vichara Margas. The Vichara Marga, Ananya Sharanagati, are emphatically described in the Ramana Purana. Ramana alone is the deliverer, proclaims Muruganar. When Ramana alone remains at the end, then who reminds us of this path? Who is the support during our sadhana? Who is the guide? Which is the light into which we merge? Everything is Ramana only. There is nothing but Ramana. That is very clear to the devotees, that without Bhagavan's grace, we were going in directions exactly opposite to spirituality. And obviously, if there is a turnaround, that is because Bhagavan's calling, like Gandham Irumbu Pol, he has attracted us and given us his Bhakti Marga as well as Jnana Marga. Ramana alone is the deliverer, proclaims Muruganar. He shows us the wealth of grace he has got at the feet of his master and invites us all to follow suit. It seems as if Shiva as Ramana and Nandi as Muruganar came to this world for our sake. It seems as if Shiva as Ramana and Nandi as Muruganar came to this world for our sake. Let us recite Ramana Puranam and be soaked in Ramana Anubhuti, the blissful natural state. Let us recite Ramana Puranam and be soaked in Ramana Anubhuti, the blissful natural state, says the author. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ram. Namo Ram.
Namo Ramanacentre. We'll now have sharing of thoughts from Self-Enquiry and a practice session of Self-Enquiry, which will be led by Sri Dileep Simha.
Namo Ramana. Dhyaye Sharada Chandra Sundaramukam Tambrada Vindekshanam Bhaktabhishtavarabhaya Pradakaram Kaupinamotrojvalam Svatmanandarasanubhuti-vivasham Sarvanavatyangakam Srimantam Shri Ramanishwaram Guruvaram Yogasana Dhyasitam Dhyayet Shri Ramanishwaram Dhyayet Shri Ramanishwaram Dhyayet Shri Ramanishwaram हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामच्युतव पवनचलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो भवतु। Namo Ramana. We will commence the Atma Vicharam by listening to and meditating on Bhagavan's Upadesham. I'll be reading his Upadesham from the book Guruvachika Kovai, from the chapter Experience of the Truth. The topic is non-association, Asanga. Verse 909. O mind, through the power of your presence, the components of the non-self come together, interact closely, and playfully dance. Without getting internally ruffled, see them all as a mere witness through the Gnana experience, the Swarupa that transcends and remains unattached to them. I repeat the verse. O mind, through the power of your presence, the components, that is, the non-self, come together, interact closely, and playfully dance. Without getting internally ruffled, see them all as a mere witness through the Gnana experience, the Swarupa that transcends and remains unattached to them. Here, Bhagavan is advising how one can have a non-association. He's advising the mind, which is the powerful Shakti, Bhagavan says, which rises from the self. And in its presence, all the objects are coming together, like in the dream, when the mind rises, the whole dream world of containing the dream place, the dream people, the dream conversations, all of them come together and create a drama or a play. They playfully dance, says Bhagavan here. See, through the Gnana, through the light of Gnana, that it is all just a mere coming together of an imagination, and therefore just see it with an indifferent eye, not get ruffled, carried away by that dance or that play. Bhagavan is saying, don't get associated with it. Just be a witness so that you can see, and the Gnana is that light which reveals even this play is neither coming and going. And whatever is being played is all nothing but transitory. So being established in this Gnana, that everything comes and goes in the play, but the light which reveals all of the play is the only truth which exists and which never, and here and now, is transcending. With that Gnana, Bhagavan is saying, witness all of this experience, then that Swarupa, the truth, that light, that which exists, which transcends, which is unaffected by the drama, you can recognize it to be unattached to them here and now. And this is how the true non-attachment has to be practiced. This is the real Asanga, the natural Asanga, the natural non-association. It is not by making some sankalpa or some holding on to an idea that I will not be attached to this, from tomorrow I will not do this or not do that. That is not the real non-association, says Bhagavan. There is a natural non-association, which is very much a reality, a natural reality of the truth. And recognizing that, having that Jnana Drishti, Bhagavan is saying, let all the drama of the non-self coming together, playing together for whatever purpose, let it happen. Don't get ruffled by it, says Bhagavan to the mind. Just be a mere witness as the waves rise and subside. Don't get carried away by the way the appearance of the mind wave, but recognize that it is all nothing but the ocean itself, the water itself. That is the self itself. And the self here and now is not touched or unaffected, even if it becomes a wave or subsides back. So recognizing that truth, recognizing that non-association, practice that asanga, says Bhagavan. And to that effect, Bhagavan has devised this self-enquiry for all of us, where he gently reminds us whenever a thought rises, he asks the question, to whom is this? And by putting that question, we, instead of getting carried away by the non-self, which has arisen as a thought and which has started to dance, by inquiring to whom is this, and by recognizing it is for me, the attention moves from the dance to the dancer, the I. But Bhagavan doesn't even stop there. He asks us to inquire who this I is, who is this dancer. When we really inquire who this I is, then the attention goes from the dancer to the very presence, the very awareness, the light, the transcendental truth, in whose light the dancer and the dance are appearing and subsiding. And by turning the attention to that light, to that existence, to that pure presence, which is really the unbroken I that is going on, Bhagavan brings us and reveals the natural asanga, the natural non-association, which is there in the real I, and which is our real Swarupa. And therefore, this self-enquiry is a very direct way from moving away from the imaginary transcendental thing to that which alone really exists, which is always present, the self. With Bhagavan's immense grace, let us practice self-enquiry for the next 10 minutes. Bhagavate Sri Thank you.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing of Atma Bodham by Sri Venkatesh Deshpande sir.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviram Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo, Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dhyanamulam Gurur Murte, Pujamulam Padam, Mantramulam Vakyam, Mokshamulam Guru Kripaha, Mokshamulam Guru Kripaha. We are doing Manana Atma Bodha, and in the last satsang we did Manana on the verse number 55. I'll do a quick recap of that. Realize that to be Brahman, having seen which there is nothing else to be seen, having become which there is no rebirth, and having known which there is nothing else to be known. The preceding verse declares that self-realization is the state of absolute perfection beyond the furthest limit of human experience, while this verse takes a step further in negating the possibility of existence of any other state beyond it. The declaration contained in these two verses is like stating that a particular degree in a university is not only the highest one could obtain, but there is no other degree anywhere else in the world that is higher than it. Drishyam literally means that which is seen. On realizing the Atman, you reach the highest experience. There is nothing more than the gross body can acquire from the objects of the world. The second description deals with knowledge achieved by the subtle body. The mind and the intellect equipment is constantly engaged in the acquisition of knowledge. But on realization, Brahman, you gain the purest absolute knowledge, the culmination of all knowledge. The third description refers to the causal body. As long as the causal body exists, your vasanas cause your reincarnation time and again. Realization of Brahman marks the destruction of all vasanas and consequent cessation of further reincarnation. Today we are doing Manana on verse number 56. I request Sapna to kindly chant the verses for us.
Yes, sir. Namo Ramana. Tiryagurdvamadah purnam Satchidanandamadvayam Anantam nityamekam yat tad brahmetyavadharayet. Tiryagurdvamadah purnam
सच्चिदानन्दमद्वयम् अनन्तं नित्यमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत्. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sapna. Realize that to be a Brahman, which is across, above, below, all-pervading existence, knowledge, bliss, and which is non-dual, infinite, eternal one. You experience Brahman on the destruction of your limiting equipment. That is the absolute state beyond which there exists nothing. Your mind being attached to this cannot conceive infinite glory and bliss of Brahman. This verse uses a psychological technique to lift the mind attached to the lower values of life. The intellect is then able to pursue the higher truth. Brahman is described here as the all-pervading reality, filling in all quarters, above, below, and everywhere. It pervades the microcosm and the macrocosm. It is transcendent and immanent, as well as the experience of Brahman is total and absolute. Even the finite joys of the world are part of that infinite experience. The world and its enjoyments are therefore not left out of the experience of the Brahman. The all-embracing total bliss experienced on self-realization includes your existing joys as well. This confirmation provides a psychological satisfaction to your mind, which is reluctant to discard its present attachments and pleasures in order to gain that unknown bliss of realization. Brahman is one homogeneous mass of reality existing eternally. It is non-dual and its manifestations or expressions are manifold. Brahman manifests as existence, knowledge, and bliss. The cosmic phenomena can be classified broadly under three heads. Inert objects, Brahman manifesting through gross body. Number two, beings awake, Brahman's manifesting through the subtle body. Beings asleep, Brahman manifesting through causal body. Brahman functioning through these macrocosm bodies manifests itself as a total macroscopic existence, knowledge, and bliss. The microcosmic concept of existence, knowledge, and bliss is only an infinitesimal aspect of that inconceivable, inexpressible, eternal Brahman. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
Moranakal. Thank you. We will now have the sharing of Arunachala Navamanimalai by Sri Ujwal Jagadeesh.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. We begin the meditation on Bhagavan Ramana's Sri Arunachala Navamanimalai, the necklace of 9 gems on Arunachala. Achalane ayinum achavaitanil Achalayam ammai yediradum Achala uruvil achakti odungida Ongum Arunachalam yendre Hari ಅಚಲನೆ ಆದರೂ ಚಿತ್ಸಭೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಚಲ ಶಿವನು ಶಕ್ತಿ ಎದುರಿಗೆ ಆಡಿ ಅಚಲ ರೂಪದಿ ಆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಅಡಗಲು ಬೆಳಗುವುದು ಅರುಣಾಚಲವೇ ಎಂದು ಅರಿ. This beautiful first verse of Navamanimalai has been set to Kamach Ragam by Srimati Sulochana Natarajan. Srimati Sulochana Natarajan, who dropped her body on a very, very fantastic day. It was after 2 cycles of Samvatsaram. There are 60 Samvatsaram, that is 60 years in one cycle. And that's why we celebrate the 60th birthday as a very important birthday, because we would have finished one full cycle of Samvatsaram, and on the 60th birthday you will get back to that same the name of the Samvatsaram, the same Tithi, the same Nakshatram will coincide just like the day when you are born. So the 60th birthday is very, very important. So after 120 years, that is 2 cycles of Samvatsaram, on the very same day, Bhagavan Ramana left his home for good from Madurai, and he started his journey to Arunachala. Srimati Sulochana Natarajan, Srimati Sulochana Natarajan, whom we really call as Sulochana Mami or Sulochana Perima, she dropped her body, and the next day of her dropping the body was the day of Gokulashtami. And when her body was offered to the fire, it was the day when Bhagavan, on his way to Tiruvannamalai, he went to a temple called Ariyaninallur, and there he saw an all-enveloping light. It was the same place where Tirujnana Sambandar too had seen an all-enveloping light, and Shiva had blessed him by giving him darshan, because one of the main door was closed by some people, and he had to see the Shiva from the small window, but through the window the Shiva was getting hidden by the Nandi, and Shiva, by his great compassion, he made the 2 Nandis which were sitting there, one to turn towards the right and another to the left, and in between the gap Tirujnana Sambandar could have the darshan of Shiva, and it is that place from where he had a glimpse of Arunachala. And that was the day when Srimati Sulochana Natarajan's body was offered to fire, and from there the body which had turned into ashes was taken to Tiruvannamalai, where Bhagavan, he reached Tiruvannamalai and he reported to Arunachala, "Father, I have come." And after that moment, there was no movement. Ramana was ever abiding in Arunachala. And that was the day when Srimati Sulochana Natarajan's remains, which were in the form of ashes, were offered to the Pali Tirtham, which was near the Ramanashramam, today's Ramanashramam. So, Arunachala is the heart, says Bhagavan Ramana. And the heart, the very nature of the heart is stillness. The nature of the heart is silence. And that heart is called the Purusha. And the one which makes us speak, the speech which arises from the silence, the movement that arises from the stillness, and the change that appears from that stillness, which is Purusha, is called the Prakriti, which is the mother Parvati. And Arunachala is the place where this Prakriti, which is the manifestation of every movement and sound and music and the change, she merges back to her own true source, which is stillness. That is what we see in Arunachala. Arunachala is when the mind is ever abiding in the heart. Ramana has reached Arunachala and is embraced Arunachala, and he has become Arunachala. Arunachala is that, the great Sadguru Swarupa, which bestows his own state to all the seekers who come to his feet. So Arunachala bestowed his own state of stillness to Ramana, and we can see that after coming to Arunachala, Ramana did not go anywhere else. He was ever abiding in Arunachala. Arunachala also means the heart. So Ramana was ever abiding in the heart. And that Arunachala is the embodiment of Shiva and Shakti being ever united. And it is in Arunachala Kshetram that Shiva and Shakti became one as Ardhanarishvara. Ramana tells this famous story of Lord Ganesha. Since we are beginning this meditation, we remember the story of Ganapati, because the Ganesha Chaturthi is also approaching. We all know the story that Narada Maharshi brought a special fruit to Kailasa and he offered it to Shiva, and he told, this is the Jnana Phalam, the fruit of knowledge. And this fruit of knowledge cannot be divided. If one has to get understand something, know the knowledge, they should have a complete knowledge of it. So they should have this fruit fully, and it cannot be divided. And please, I offer it to you, and you give it to the person whom you think is right. But Shiva wondered, I have two children. I have Ganapati and Subramanya. Whom shall I give the fruit? He called his both children and he told, we'll have a competition. The competition is the one who goes around this world and comes back quickly will get this special fruit called the Jnana Phalam, brought by Narada Maharshi. And quickly Muruga, Subramanya, he climbed onto his mount, his vehicle, which was the Mayura, the beautiful peacock, and he started flying and started his journey to go around the world. But what did Ganapati do? Ganapati knew that he cannot win over the speed of Muruga. He has to win him from his wisdom. So Ganapati remembered that his mother and father are the whole universe, because everything is contained in them. And where is this mother and father available to him together? He remembered it is Arunachala. In Arunachala, they stand as the beautiful hill where Shiva and Parvati are ever abiding as the still hill of light. So he came to Arunachala and he went around Arunachala in the form of Giri Pradakshina. And as a result of that Giri Pradakshina, he got the Jnana Phalam. This shows that Arunachala contains the whole world. Muruga had to go around the world to get the Jnana Phalam, to win the race. But Ganesha knew the truth that the whole world only resides in the heart. Ramana says everything resides in the heart because from the heart rises the mind. When the mind rises, the whole world appears and we can see everything and we can enjoy the experiences in the world. But when the mind subsides into the heart back, which we experience every day in deep sleep, when the mind sets back into the heart, the whole world also sets and gets merged into the heart. So where is the world? The world is in the mind, and the mind is in the heart. So the whole world is only in the heart. And Ganesha knew this. So he went around the Arunachala, the heart, and he got the Jnana Phalam. So we always, in our Indian tradition, we always do this Atma Pradakshina before we prostrate to the God. We go round ourselves to remind ourselves that the Arunachala is the heart and the whole world is only in the heart. By going around ourselves, we are actually going around the world. And what is the fruit of going around the world? We get the Jnana Phalam. And Ramana, who is none other than that Subramanya, he understood this. Oh, I quickly ran away to complete the task. I am known for my quickness. Muruga listens to the prayer very, very quickly, and he comes and saves us at the time of difficulty. We know the story of Arunagiri Nathar, when he had climbed the Gopuram of the Arunachaleshwara temple and was about to fall. Muruga came quickly and held him in his hand and saved him and gave him a new life. So Muruga is known for his quickness, but he understood, okay, I should be quick. At the same time, I should learn something from my elder brother Ganapati. What does he say? That we should do the Atma Pradakshina to get the Jnana Phalam. And that's what, as Ramana, Muruga taught us. What did he teach us? He told us that Pradakshina is when you start from one point and you finish the Pradakshina in the same point. When we start Girivalam, we start from the Ramanashramam. And after going round the hill, we come back to the same Ramanashramam and we complete the Girivalam. So Ramana says, find out from where the I arises and merge back at its source. So you find out from where the I arises and you merge back at its source, completing one cycle. And that is the true Atma Pradakshina. If we can do that, if we can get back to the source of the I, if you can get back to the source of every thought, if you can get back to the source of the world which appears in front of us, if you can get back to the source of the mind, then you would have finished a Pradakshina. And that is the true Jnana Phalam, says Bhagavan Ramana. And this is the place, Arunachala is the place where the great seekers were drawn, and there Shiva blessed them with that very same Jnana Phalam which he blessed Ganesha with. And we will meditate on all these great devotees, including the journey of Mother Parvati in the upcoming satsangs, meditating on these beautiful verses of Navamanimalai by Bhagavan Ramana. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing of Ramana Ashtottaram, verses from Ramana Ashtottaram by Dr. Shada.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. By the immense grace of the self, manifest as Ramana, we in this part of the satsang are meditating on the Ramana Ashtottara Shatanamavali, composed by Muruganar Swami. This is a litany of 108 names in praise of Bhagavan. And these names are in the context or in the concept of Bhagavan's biography, the life story of Bhagavan. Many of the verses or the names are adjectival in nature. They are adjectives for Bhagavan. There are names which are specific to incidents in Bhagavan's life. Therefore, we say it is biographical because it starts practically with Bhuminatha Thalottitaya Namaha. It goes on to incidents, especially until Bhagavan's coming to Arunachala and staying there like the hill itself, Achala. But after coming to Arunachala also, we have some adjectives which clearly indicate the biographical details which we beheld in Bhagavan's life, like Tapakshapita Sarvangaya Namaha, where our mind goes back to the Patala Lingam, where Bhagavan's body was practically eaten up by vermin. And then we have a few other adjectives or names which are specific, as I said, to the places. Gurumurta Tapo Nishthaya Namaha is there. There is Chutavatyam Samasinaya Namaha, Virupaksha Guhavasaya Namaha. So these namas are there. And now, after going through the nama, Virupaksha Guhavasaya Namaha, we then saw Virajata Chalakrate Namaha, Om Uddipta Nayanaya Namaha, Purnaya Namaha. Now, Purna is an adjective which obviously indicates the fullness, the perfection of Bhagavan. Now, why is it that Vishwanatha Swami is positioning the Nama Purnaya Namaha in this space after Virupaksha Guhavasaya Namaha? Because in Virupaksha Guha only, the fullness of Bhagavan, the Atma Nishtha of Bhagavan was discovered by the seekers of truth. We find Shiva Prakasham Pillai, before him Gambiram Sheshayar, and after that the coming of Ganapati Muni, and several seekers of truth like Satyamangalam Venkataramayar, Ramanadasa Sadananda, and we have, of course, T.K. Sundaresh Iyer, we have Ramanatha Brahmachari, and so many, actually numberless seekers, Frank Humphreys. So we have all these, actually we can say a galaxy of seekers coming to Bhagavan during the Virupaksha years. We have Mother Aragama herself coming to Bhagavan and surrendering to Bhagavan. This also happens during the Virupaksha years. But the Nama Purna means it is fullness. What is full? Only the self is full. Nothing else can be full. Everything else is incomplete because it has its boundary in space and it has its boundary in time. The self alone is fullness. So, Vishwanatha Swami is in this Nama reminding us that yes, I have been telling you the story of Bhagavan. I have been telling you of the beauty of his embodiment out of absolute grace, out of absolute pure compassion which has no motive whatsoever. But let us not forget that Bhagavan is actually the self. It is the self that has embodied itself. It is that self which is shining in all beings, says Bhagavan when he is asked, "Who are you, Ramana?" Bhagavan says, Arunachala Ramana is the awareness shining in the hearts of all beings as I. Ariyadi Tarajivarada Havarija Duhayil Arivairami Paramatman Arunachala Ramanan. It's a consciousness shining in the hearts of all beings. So that is what is Ramana. Vishwanatha Swami is telling us in this Nama, Purnaya Namaha. And he is also indicating to us that since Bhagavan is the fullness, everything about him is also fullness. Everything about him is fullness. His life is fullness. His words are fullness. His glance is fullness. His smile is fullness. His silence is fullness. Silence is anyhow full. If at all we have to give an example for the fullness of the self, we can give the example of silence, because silence is not fragmented in any manner. Whereas all other experiences of ours are fragmented. Actually, silence is the very nature of the self itself. So, everything about Bhagavan is Purna. So, if we take even one word from Bhagavan's works, if we take one verse from Bhagavan's works, if we take Ulladu Narpadu, if we take even the first prayer verse of Ulladu Narpadu, it is complete in itself. Complete meaning there is nothing further we have to seek in terms of Upadesha. If we look at the first verse of Upadesa Saram, it is complete in itself. But why is there a body of work of compositions of Bhagavan when every verse, every word of his is Purna? The reason is that we are not able to comprehend that fullness on account of making ourselves limited. We have limited ourselves to a name and form. And after limiting ourselves, we are seeking, no doubt, the fullness. But even there, our own efforts are not always full. They are also partial. Our turning back to the fullness is with a part of our mind. It is not with the entirety of attention. However, during self-enquiry, says Bhagavan, during self-enquiry, attention becomes Purna. Because when one asks oneself the question, who am I? What answer can one give? One cannot give any answer to that question. So one experiences the self directly. One experiences the silence directly. So the epithet, the adjective we say, Purna, can be applied equally to Bhagavan's path of self-enquiry. One of the devotees, Shyam Sundar, he usually says, Ramana is the way of Ramana. Sri Subbaraya Sharma will say, the Jnani is verily the self, the Jivan Mukta is verily the self. So the Jivan Mukta, the Ramana, is not just the self, which is fullness. We said that he is everything that comes from him, and most of all, he is the fullness of the way of self-enquiry. That is also absolutely full. And then the name of Ramana. The name Ramana is also all enveloping. So that is why Vishwanatha Swami had told us in the very beginning, before he started the Ashtotram, Yasyor Mimatram Bhuvanam Samastam. This entire universe is but a speck in Ramana. This entire universe is only one speck. Mimatram Bhuvanam Samastam. Such a one who is full, who is everywhere, who is present in every atom, in and out, outside, inside of us, shining as the consciousness that pervades everything and in all times. Sadhu Om Swami beautifully describes this fullness that is Bhagavan. He says, Yella poludilum, yella idatilum, yellama ennul irupavane. In all times, if there is something called time, at all times, in all spaces, as everything, as the fullness, he resides within me. Ullasamai ullulavum Ramana, unake, unake, namaskaram. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the chanting of Aksharamanamalai by Srimati Radha.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. தேடாதுற்றனல் திருவருணிதியகத்தியக்கம் தீர்த்தருள் அருணாச்சலா. தைரியமோடும் உண்மையக நாடயம் தட்டழிந்தேன் அருள் அருணாச்சலா. தொட்டருள் கைமை கட்டிடாயனிலி அன்னட்டமாவேன் அருள் அருணாச்சலா. தோடமில் நீயக தோடொன்றி என்றும் சந்தோடம் ஒன்றிட அருள் அருணாச்சலா. நகைக்கிடவில்லை நின் நாடியன அருள் நகையிட்டு பாணி அருணாச்சலா. நாடிலை நாடிட நானாயொன்றி நிஸ்தானுவ நின்றனை அருணாச்சலா. நின்னெறி எரி தென்னை நீராக்கிடும் உன் அருள்மழை பொழி அருணாச்சலா. நீனானர புலி நிதங்கடி மயமா நின்றிட நிலை அருள் அருணாச்சலா. நுண்ணுரு உன்னையான் விண்ணுரு நன்னிட எண்ணலை இருமென்றருணாச்சலா. நூலறிவறியா பேதையன் எந்தன் மாலறிவரு தருள் அருணாச்சலா. நெக்கு நெக்குருகியான் புக்கிட உன்னை புகழ் நக்க நான் நின்றனை அருணாச்சலா. நேசமில் எனக்கு உன் ஆசையை காட்டி நீ மோசம் செய்யாதருள் அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சல சிவ, 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 அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சலம் வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி. Aksharamanamalai Vazhi. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We will conclude today's satsang, the Ashtottara puja to Bhagavan. The Ashtottara puja will be conducted by Sri Dileep Simha at his altar. The Ashtottaram will be chanted by Vaibhavji, Prarthana and Uma Sripathy. We conclude today's satsang with the Arati to Bhagavan. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
नमो रमणा. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्री रमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि. ॐ महासेन महोंशेन जाताय नमः. ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः. ॐ गुरवे नमः. ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः. ॐ महौजसे नमः. ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः. ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः. ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः. ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः. ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः. ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः. ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः. ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः. ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः. ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थळे लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः. ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः. ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः. ॐ तीव्राय नमः. ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः. ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः. ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोर्णशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः. ॐ तपोमयाय नमः. ॐ उदासीनाय नमः. ॐ महायोगिने नमः. ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः. ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः. ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः. ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः. ॐ सवित्रे नमः. ॐ स्थिराय नमः. ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः. ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः. ॐ चन्द्रिकासिसहाश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः. ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः. ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः. ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः. ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः. ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः. ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः. ॐ विराजतचलाकृतये नमः. ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः. ॐ पूर्णाय नमः. ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः. ॐ गम्भीराय नमः. ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः. ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः. ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः. ॐ दक्षिणास्यनिभाय नमः. ॐ धीराय नमः. ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः. ॐ स्वराजे नमः. ॐ महर्षये नमः. ॐ भगवते नमः. ॐ ईड्याय नमः.
ॐ धूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः. ॐ विमलाय नमः. ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः. ॐ आप्ताय नमः. ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः. ॐ समदृशे नमः. ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः. ॐ सत्याय नमः. ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्री शोणाचलरद्भूतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्न संशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ मृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणात्मन्दमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसाराणवतारकाय नमः। ॐ षोडाद्रीशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ आर्धविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः।
ॐ श्रीरमणभगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थाणोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्या जनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादाज्ञभावं गतः निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। नमो 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 रमण सदाशिवप्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शनसुखमङ्गलमुखसकलजीवहितसम्मुख ब्रह्मसङ्गिये सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानन्दपुष्ट परममहर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಹೆ ಅದರ ಜಾಡ್ ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡುತ್ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಘಿಯೇ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರಣ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರಣ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की